Alright, what's going on, everybody? This is a 2v2 game with me and Alnananaz against Synoptic and Angelos. And I usually don't do 2v2 games, but I figured I should show this one because we relied heavily on the terrain. And I'm going to show that right now. So, I forgot the name of this map, but I absolutely hate it. Got a big pool in the middle. You got 3 points. So I really wanted the, the sword dojo, which, I went over to help Al over here, to get that. And, Synoptic, he went for, the, what the hell this thing's called? The thing that gives you morale boost, I think, is some sort of temple or whatnot. It's a shrine. So I pretty much go over here, get the sword dojo, and then just hang out until I get it, then I move up. So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit, and I have a very, a little bit of skirmishing going on over here. I move forward, I get stuck in the water. But I was not impressed with the mounted gunner's ability to just shoot. I tried to get a volley off before running away, but I clicked on the skirmish mode and it just didn't go. So keep that in mind. If you have skirmish mode on and you're getting charged by cav, you're probably not going to get a shot off. Whereas I really wanted to get a shot off. So about this point, I think we got the dojo. Yes, we did. We're moving up. So my plan here was to skirmish and mess with Synoptic a little bit so that we can move up and double team Angelos over here. But as you'll soon see, Angelos, moves back a lot. And if this doesn't mess up my computer, oh, so slow. Alright, I'm gonna go back to the other fast forward. So he keeps moving back, essentially making my guys extremely tired. And this gives Synoptic time to form up his ranks right here, right alongside Angelos. So our plan to double team pretty much failed right away. That wasn't going to happen. So I tried to get a couple skirmish shots off, and yet again I wanted to get his general at least one shot off, but I didn't. So I moved my mounted gunners, back around again, and we just pretty much continue to form up. And I just continue to keep running over here. It's actually a good thing that they didn't have rush-worthy units, really, because that could have hurt me pretty bad since I wanted to hit him so bad. So now I'm on normal speed. Now, if you look at Angelos' army, it's very spears, guns, bows oriented with, what is it, a couple katana cav, and that's it. He is, 1 katana samurai, 2 katana samurai, 3 katana samurai, maybe. But for the most part, he's bows, guns, and spears. And, I'm not too afraid of that coming at me. And I know he's just there waiting for me to come at him. And we have Synoptic, on the other hand, down here. Now, Al and I, eventually, we form up our ranks and just hang out here just so I can, get my guys back to normal once again. But the plan is, since Synoptic is so far down the hill over here, it would be very beneficial for both of us to still just attack Angelos, as Synoptic has to run up the hill, and that's not going to be very good for his morale or charge bonus, and that should hurt him greatly. So here we go. This is the last form up here, and I'm going to fast forward it. I'm amazed that I'm not able to fast forward anymore. It might be because of fraps going on, because usually it goes pretty well. But I form up my guys here, and I just start, shooting volleys, a little bit. I just want to try to damage something before I rush at this, because he does have a decent amount of guns. He has guns here and here on each flank, and Synoptic has a decent amount too. And Synoptic pretty much forms up in these trees, but he still is lower. He's still on the low side over here. And we should be able to rush Angelos pretty well. Now, one thing we did keep in mind was the Yari Cav coming around by Synoptic, and that was, waiting for, the right moment just to come get us. I usually keep like a Yari Ashigaro behind my army now if I'm planning on skirmishing a bit. So that's my one main protection. It isn't much, I know. But, this is pretty much just a little skirmish fight here, and we just go back and forth until, most of my guys are pretty much back to normal, fighting strength again in terms of fatigue. Especially my lone swords, because, they're the ones that are going to be dishing out the damage. So as soon as we see, Angelos move back again, we're like, alright. Any more, he's going to get pinned against this wall, and he's going to have to keep running uphill, and he's going to eventually get tired. So it's pretty much a good time for us to attack. And as you can see, Al has a lot of cav over here just to push him around and bully him in, because he's not going to charge them. So in terms of protection, I left this Yari Ashigaro hidden in the woods here just in case they wanted to sweep around with the cav, but I wasn't too worried about that. One mistake I did make was I did not rush with my bulletproof samurai like I wanted to. I actually kept them in the back, and I ended up using them as protection. And that's not really a great idea, especially when, they're mainly there to get close and up close and personal with those matchlocks to push your enemy back. So I did not use them, the way you're supposed to, unfortunately. I'm going to fast forward again. I guess I really miscalculated the timing here on what exactly is happening. Okay, so here we go. So this is really the beginning of the battle here, because I push forward with my monks, my guns, and my lone swords. I essentially leave most of my spears back and my great guard. But here we go. I am moving right up in his face as much as I can. I got decent range on a lot of his units. My Matchlock Ashigaro do not have the greatest of range, unfortunately, and I don't get them up close and personal as much as I want. But the good thing is that, for the most part, Synoptic has to come to us, whereas Angelos doesn't. So just leaving this Matchlock Ashigaro around this general vicinity does benefit me. And here we go. I slowly move up my lone swords, because my lone swords, for the most part, can handle anything that he has going at me here. They still have 17 attack and 12 melee defense with a decent charge. They're ready to go. They're ready to tear apart anything that's come the way. So one thing that I like to do is I stretch them apart right before my charge, and then I send one of the middle ones off to the side because they don't expect that, and I pretty much just move them all forward, which essentially moves him back, but Synoptic moves forward. So it sort of forces them to work together better, because once he sees that I got Synoptic bottled up in the woods here, Angelos has to somewhat help. As you can see, Al is getting in there, trying to move back his his bow samurai and monks for me, and his guns, which helped a lot on this side, and I'm able to move up my lone swords all the way. Now over here I see the general all alone, and I do see these Matchlock warrior monks, and I move them away right here, hoping that they're not going to get me, and I try to wrap him around, but this just gives him enough time for his katana cav to get in there, and he got a decent amount of shots off, and I pretty much leave him there to die to buy time, because that great guard does leave him worried, as he should be pretty exposed, and also pulls away this Angelos samurai, as I'm able to go back and hit Synoptic over here. Now, one thing I did mess up with is my bow warrior monks decided to run away. I have no idea why, but my matchlocks are over here fighting pretty good, and I have my matchlocks covered very well. I have these matchlocks covering the majority of Synoptic's army, and these matchlocks shooting a huge part of Angelos' army. Now, if only I had my heavy gunners this round, I would probably be tearing up one of their armies right now. But my lone swords are holding pretty strong. They have 8 morale. Not the greatest in the world, but it's enough to stay strong in this game. And, they're hitting it. And I have Al constantly harassing to keep those archers and those guns you know, at bay. Now, my guys do sort of, you know, buckle quite a bit. But I don't have to be too worried here because my guns are pretty well protected. And I move my guns, or I move my spears up to protect them on both sides here. I still have this unit of Great Guard running around, keeping, you know, the front of their charge at bay. You know, giving my guns a lot of, you know, huge chance to fight still. And, you know, he pulls away these Katana Sam over here. And, you know, Al sees this, and I see this too. And, you know, there's a gap right here that we can exploit eventually. And, you know, over here, you know, he did get a charge with one of the, you know, he brings his avatar over here to fight mine, which was probably the craziest thing I've seen in a while. But, you know, I was able to, you know, fight that off with my Yari Ashigaru here. And I think he also brings in another Yari Cav in here to fight mine. What people don't expect when I have stand-and fight is I also have melee and defensive properties. I have a half melee general here. So we still have the line somewhat drawn here. My general's a little bit exposed, but I do have these spears right there. And I'm going to move them forward. Now I'm essentially doing what he was doing to me in the beginning. He has all the melee troops now, and I have all the range. And I'm just pretty much plugging away and holding the gaps here. Al is moving up with what he has left of his melee units here. And he's plugging away, trying to make these guys flee. And once this matchlock unit tears these two apart, he's free to tear up the rest of his other units. And as you can see, I have these mounted gunners up and running and harassing, going for the general, going for these katanas. And, you know, I also have this unit of Great Guard running around, you know, fishing through the enemy's stuff. So I'm going to take this Great Guard eventually and sweep him around that way. After I'm done chasing this one Yari Cav. And, you know, he's able to do some pretty good attacks with his melee troops. But I have so many spears left in reserve that he's not able to go anywhere. And I'm still able to just keep shooting him. And of course, I'm able to pull the rest of my guys from the bottom down here. Al was able to clean up Synoptic on this side, which pretty much just leaves, you know, Angelos over here. I mean, he sort of had to attack, and he did, but he wasn't able to really pull anything off because, you know, he sacrificed, you know, the bulk of his ranged troops in the beginning to kill my melee. And the tides, you know, the strategy sort of shifted here. As I turned into a more melee focus, or as a more ranged focus at the end of the game than he did. So as you can see, you know, as much protection as Angelos had, you know, we were eventually able to get to him. And Synoptic, that hill really killed him. You know, he had to fight uphill the whole time. I mean, look how steep this is. I mean, it's outrageous. But anyways, good games to them. I thought it was a good one, you know, 2v2 battle. And, you know, the whole time looks like we're going to lose. You know, it's just how things go.